There are over 574 federally recognized tribes in the US, representing a diverse set of communities which also have many shared challenges. To discuss the mental health concerns of Native American communities, delighted now to be joined by Dr Monica Taylor-Desir. Thank you ever so much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe we could start off. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Definitely. So currently I am at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where I primarily do assertive community treatment, where I go into people's homes with severe mental illness. But prior to coming to Mayo Clinic, I worked with tribal communities for 16 years as their psychiatrist. Sometimes they're only psychiatrist in a community, and also provided a liaison between Native Sovereign Nation and state services. And then my most recent work was as the chief medical officer and only psychiatrist for a community.
What are some of the major challenges in American Indian communities?
Well, American Indians have one of the highest rates of suicide of any racial ethnic population. But also, as we've seen an increase in the opiate epidemic, we've also seen a huge increase in opiate epidemic and opiate deaths in Native American communities. Aside from those two, we also really want to consider how historical trauma affects mental health and mental health conditions. And as we are working with Native American communities, it's really important to remember that they're sovereign nations and they have data sovereignty. So as we're doing our research, that we're partnering with them and also saying this is your information and your work so they can continue to build.
How well has the psychiatric community as a whole stood up to these challenges?
We haven't done the best job. So, when I was in training, I never heard anything about the high rates of suicide in Native American populations. I think we're trying to do better in incorporating the history and the effects of historical trauma and mental health needs. And then we just need to have more outreach to our communities.
What about affirmative care? Why is that the right approach?
During my session on Wednesday morning, I'm joined by Mary Russell, who is a Navajo psychiatrist and one of our board of trustees. And she'll be talking about affirmative care, which looks at a person's unique experience, takes into consideration their culture and also their strengths that have allowed them to get to where they are right now. And so all of those really are an appropriate approach to working with any cross-cultural community, but definitely with our Native American communities.
How can psychiatrists use the wisdom within the American Indian community to further their work?
So the Native American communities have put together like a declaration of wisdom, which I absolutely love, and they have recognized what they need for their communities. For persons that are practicing in Native communities, it is really important to approach with cultural humility and just learn and respect that they've had hundreds of years that have helped them to survive and thrive, and we need to partner with them.
How well represented are Indigenous people within the psychiatry profession, and why does that matter?
So we know that we can get better clinical outcomes for patient-physician concordant relationships. Native American psychiatrists in the United States only make 0.4%. We need to really work to increase the representation of our Native American psychiatrists.
I guess my final question then is, how do you do that?
So definitely working to provide experiences for Native Americans that are interested in getting into the sciences. And I will also be joined by Lala Forrest, who is an Indigenous woman who is in training at Yale Psychiatry Residency Program, and she'll be sharing some of her own experiences and recommendations on how we can get more Native American and Alaska Native psychiatrists.
Well, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us. It's really fascinating, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.